Sit down, girl. Hey, good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? Once again, it's your boy Rob Thomas Jr., and this is the real news behind the news. Oh yeah, today is a beautiful Friday here in Shreveport, December 6th, 2019. And we want to briefly talk about the war on the poor. You know what? Our government right now, the United States government, is actively fighting 8 wars overseas in the Middle East. And at the same time, we got almost 800 military bases all around the world. Now, Donald Trump just recently mentioned some cuts to the food stamp program. Now, first and foremost, I want to say this, that food stamps is a way to help out while you're trying to help yourself up. Food stamps is not a source of income. You know what I'm saying? Me, myself, I ain't ashamed to say that at one point I received food stamps, and I still receive them on behalf of my son, because I'm what you call the working poor. Means I work, I get out and do whatever work I can, and at the same time, the work that I do is not allowing me to be able to provide certain things. One of those things, I'm always provide food for my son, but it helps out. Now, you got millions of people now start scheduled in April who are going to lose benefits. Now, what they're saying is able-bodied people. What is an able-bodied person? A person who's able to get up and get out there. But what if a person has felonies and they can't get nothing but a minimum wage job? They barely can pay the rent with this job. They barely can pay their utilities. And at the same time, they still got to eat. Now, what y'all got to watch, coming down the line, they're going to start cutting out the free lunch program. They're going to start cutting all these social programs for the poor. Now, they say they want to cut food stamps to save $5.5 billion over the next 5 years. But guess how much money they're going to spend this year alone on war? A couple of $100 billion. They're going to spend $100 billion on war, making weapons of war to go over there and kill innocent people, excuse me, in the Middle East. They're going to spend hundreds of billions on that, but they're trying to save $5 billion over 5 years. Just to, by starving people out. Because basically that's what they're going to do. You're going to cause a lot of people starve. What's going to happen, some of the riots that you see in overseas, they don't show you this on TV, but do y'all realize they're rioting right now behind government corruption and government war on the poor in damn near 80 countries right now? I mean, I could go down a list, name country after country, where the citizens are fed up with the corruption of the government. They're going to start eventually riding here, because you talking about now taking food out of people's mouth, man. I mean, what is Trump really trying to prove? You trying to save $5.5 billion over 5 years, but you spending hundreds of billions every year on weapons of war. Hell, you give Israel $10 million a week for weapons of war. But you're talking about taking food out of some of the poorest people in America's mouth, man. Now, again, I'm not saying that, food stamps is an income. No, again, food stamps is a way to help yourself up, help your family while you trying to make life better. You know what I'm saying? Because I figure, yeah, I was getting them for my son, but I'm not happy with this, being my only option to feed my son. So I had to get out here, man, and actually work, which everybody should. But again, there's circumstances that won't allow certain people to work. And these people are going to wind up being hungry now. You know what I'm saying? So now basically you finna force crime up, because people are going to feed their family, man. I don't care what you say. People are going to feed their family. So if you cut food stamps out, what you think going to happen? People going to get out there, they going to steal. Then what's going to happen? That's going to fill up the prisons. So it's like a game. It's like a hustle that they use to basically further their war agenda. Because again, that $5.5 billion they talking about saving, what they gonna save it for? To build more weapons of war. So like Tupac said, you got weapons for money for war, but can't feed the poor. Come on, man. People gonna be starving, and people gonna go out there and commit more crime. So it's not, you're not really accomplishing nothing. Again, especially like I say, when you're giving Israel $10 million a week so that they continue persecuting the Palestinians. You're giving away all that money to these other nations. Man, come on, why don't you take care of home first? Let me ask y'all a question. You got your home right here. You got your kids. at your house and you just barely taking care of your house, what do you look like, man, going to give $100 a week to your next door neighbor or to your neighbor that live around the corner from you when you and your kids are starving? That's what's happening in America. We're sending all this money overseas in foreign aid, but we barely can feed our people here. So again, it's finna get hectic starting April. I think it's gonna go into effect April next year. They're gonna start cutting a lot of people off food stamps. My advice, step your game up, do like I'm doing, man. I'm finna have to either go back offshore, going back to school for sure. I know I'm already registered to go back to school, but I just gotta step my game up. I'm not finna be that person the government dictate what I can do just for me to eat. Now, anytime you put your future in the government hand, this is the kind of thing that arise. Now the government tells you what you gotta do, when you gotta do it, and how you gotta do it. So again, y'all, I'm not understanding this. You trying to save $5 billion over 5 years, but just this year alone, you spending over 100-something billion. Hell, y'all just sent 70-something billion to Saudi Arabia for weapons of war. But Trump says, no, he can't feed the poor. They got to make war. Hey, y'all give me a moment, man. Let me try to get some of these leaves up before the trash man come. But what y'all think about that, man? Y'all think it's right for them to cut the food stamps to some of the poorest people in America? You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying no able-bodied men or women who get their food stamps and go out there and sell them for crack or outfits to go to the club. Yeah, some people need to be off them because some people are abusing it. But there's a lot of people that are going to suffer. A lot of kids going to be hungry, man, because it's really designed to cut out the food stamp for the working poor. The working poor, meaning people who work but are still poor. Y'all have a blessed day.